We are so excited to welcome Amber Jacobs, an entrepreneur who has built her own graphic design company and worked with Fortune 500 companies, creative agencies, and smaller direct-to-customer businesses. We are so excited to hear about her and how she's accomplished all of this. Amber, take it away.
Hello, Kings High School. Good to hear, or good to see you. I wish I could see you all in person, but unfortunately, considering everything that's going on, this is the best we can do for now. So bear with us. So a little bit about me. I'm a solopreneur of graphic design agency Amber Design LLC. I've had a business license since 2008, but only went solo into my business full time as of 2018. So what I do. So I'm a great graphic design solution for everything from branding, print, and digital. So if you needed a new logo, that then gets flushed into what transpires into your website, your packaging design, your trucks, your brochures, your stills materials. I can and then also then flushing it to, yes, digital. So social media, newsletter campaigns, digital display ads, and much, much more. So really, I can talk both print and web, and I can transpire it all over the board. So I'm a really great one-stop shop for companies and their needs. A lot of companies don't need a full-time graphic designer. You know, they've got some things every once in a while. And so that's why they kind of come and employ me when they need it, as they need it. So that's where that kind of comes in. How did I get into this? So 2008, some of you may be really young, and too young to remember, but that was also during a recession. It was a really crappy time to graduate college, to be perfectly honest, because during that time, the housing market was taking a shamble, and gosh, it was really, really messy. You had senior level people taking junior level work because those people are just trying to keep an income so that way they can afford their children and their families and their mortgages. And so as a junior, if an employer has a choice of a senior for a junior rate or a junior for a junior rate, they're going to take a senior every time. So it was a game during that time of kind of faking it to make it. And I did kind of maybe a sneaky thing at that time. I took my dates off my resume because my resume looked really good. I had taken a lot of other jobs through college, design jobs. And by taking my graduation date and my dates off my resume, I actually ended up getting more phone calls that way because my resume looked better than maybe another junior might have had. So that maybe a tip to the wise, I don't know. That seemed to work for me because once I could get on the phone and talk about my design skills and background, I was able to nail interviews and nail jobs. So that was really, really helpful to me. So I got some first gigs out of college. I worked as an intern. I literally worked for free for 3 months at Publicis Consultants. It's a broadcast agency out of, one of their offices is out of Lower Queen Anne, but they're out of Paris, Francais. So it was Publicis Consultants is the way they speak. And so it was a great experience. I learned everything about broadcast, graphic design, and then the internship was not just for graphic design. It was also how to learn how to be a project manager. It was also learn how to be, God, what else did I learn? Account manager, project manager, producer. So I got to shadow a lot of different types of people, and it was really, really educational and really, really, really cool. But at the end of the intern, I decided I was like, nope, I really love graphic design. I'm all in. So I just kind of kept at it, asking for informational interviews. That was what was really helpful to me as a young person was, hey, you kind of get to, play the novice card for a little while where you're like, I just graduated college, and you can reach out and be like, hey, I just graduated from Western Washington University. I'm new to the industry. I just saw that you won the Seattle Addy Awards. I would love to learn a little bit more about what you and your team did, and could I take you out for coffee, and could I learn a little bit more about the industry? And then, yes, if you're not hiring, who else can I go talk to? So then you kind of play the network game, and that Rolodex started creating really, really quick for me because I was really outgoing and really curious and wanting to learn more. And I got really smart in the sense of I wouldn't just be like, looked up design agencies and then like art directors, and then want to go to coffee. I looked up like what's called the Seattle Addy Awards. And they're a big advertising agency award show every year. It's kind of like the Oscars, but for advertising agencies in Seattle. So then you can kind of like speak to it, like, oh, I saw you won the silver or the gold Addy Award for this project. I'd love to learn more about how you come to this solution, and I'd love to take you out for coffee. So it was a great kind of and it showed that you took initiative far beyond just looking them up on the internet. So try that out. That would be a nice little thing too. So once I started doing that, I gained some momentum. I got some contracts under my belt, and you kind of just keep going and going and going. So we're gonna fast forward. So then, and then I worked for, yes, the Microsofts. I worked for the T-Mobiles. I worked for every single design agency downtown Seattle I could possibly get my hands on. I either worked direct or I worked through what's called placement agencies. Placement agencies will place you at a contract, but you're technically a W-2 employee of the placement agency. So there's kind of pros and cons when working with placement agencies and going obviously direct as an actual contractor, 1099 versus a W-2. So it's like, so there's just those pros and cons, right? So I did that for years, kind of like learned the ropes, of how to go through a design agency, how projects come in, rounds of review, to final solution and deliverables at several different design and for companies, for agencies, and then in-house. So I just kind of did that for a few years. And then after about probably 5 years in, I decided, I was like, I don't think I'm cut out to work for somebody else. I got really curious about other parts of the business. So I was like, gosh, how did we get this contract? How much is this client paying for this contract? Oh, okay, if we're doing the work, and then like, how does it all wrap up? So I was just like started getting really, really curious about other parts of the business. And so I got kind of like sneaky looking under the hood at these, access to all these servers. And so I was like, well, what does the contract look like? What does the business development look like? What is the, like, how are they doing this? And so I learned about, what is business development? What does sales teams do? What does the account rep do? And then obviously the work gets passed, kind of waterfall down to me as a designer, and I work in my silo, and then I hand it off to production or developers or whatever else. And then obviously accounts payable does their bit, and, kind of taxes and yada, yada. So I decided between that, and I decided or found out that I'm not a very good employee. I'm not very good at butts and chairs and working a 9 to 5, I guess. Because for me, I guess a kid of the 90s, I felt that as long as I got electricity and Wi-Fi, there's zero reason why I can't get my job done. As long as I hit the deadline, there's no reason I can't do my job anywhere in the world as long as I hit the deadline. And it shouldn't matter if it took me 2 hours or 8 hours. As long as the quality is there, it shouldn't matter. That's always a thing I've always struggled with as a designer, because they're playing you for your mind and your thoughts and your ideas. And if the idea took you 20 minutes or the idea took you 8 hours, it's still the same idea and it still has the same value, no matter how much time it took you to get there. So I always struggled with that as a designer. It was like one random thing. So I just, and some old school employers were like, oh, I saw you take a 30-minute break to talk to so-and-so. That means you need to work an extra 30 days or 30 hours or minutes rather. And I just couldn't get down with that idea. And then they would also like tout, employees that work till 10 p.m. or something like that. I had like better employees. And I was like, maybe they're just inefficient. Like, there's no reason why maybe that should have taken to be till 10 p.m. Like, I don't see that as a better employee. And I just always wrestled with that. So I guess for me, I somewhere along the line decided I was not going to work for somebody else. So about 2014, 15, I thought I was at my dream job. I was working as a graphic designer for a sports fitness company called Sports Art, and they design and manufacture sporting equipment such as like treadmill, cycles, and ellipticals, as well as like even like workout equipment. Like leg lifts or bench presses or different things like that. And I'm a fitness enthusiast. So I was like, oh, I hit the mecca job. This is going to be great. So I was tasked with, over the year and a half, redesigning their entire company, from the website to all the touch points, trade show booths, the touchscreen console. You know, when you go out to the treadmill and you get to touch the console and like pick programs and stuff. I got to redesign that. I got to redesign all the different handouts and sales slicks and email newsletters and you name it, I got to redesign it. It was like the best thing for a graphic designer. It's like what every designer loves and wants to do. But then somewhere along the way, the owner gets older and he gives the company to his kids and they reorg the entire company based out of Taiwan. And unfortunately, between the CEO of the North Americas and I, and a couple other key players, we were not a part of that reorg. And I was like really disappointed because I thought I was a part of this really amazing company. I thought that by redesigning them, you know, they found value in me. And at that moment of being laid off or fired from this job, I realized I was not in control of my destiny, and I didn't even get to like come to the table and negotiate my terms, right? It was like, sorry, you know, you're a senior designer. You obviously are worth what you're being paid, but unfortunately, thanks for everything. We're gonna go hire a junior to like, uphold your templates that you had just created for half the rate. And that's what they did. And I totally understand from a business perspective why they did it. But at the same time, I was like, wow, I just put all this work in for you. Thanks, but no thanks. And that was really like kind of like my like push out the door to like finally becoming an entrepreneur. And that was like what, 5 years ago. So at that point, I was like, oh, I'm not in control. I don't like this. So I made a business plan. I kind of thought about the things that I wanted. You know, during that time, the commutes were becoming really atrocious into the downtown areas, no matter where you were. And at that time, that year, actually, I got married. My husband and I got married in 2015. And so the thought of prospecting the idea of having children and commuting, I was like, well, how do I have a stay-at-home business where I can make 6 figures and, you know, not have an hour and a half commute, not pay for gas to a commute or parking, and be a stay-at-home 6-figure mom. And that was really like the bones of like my business strategy of what I wanted. I was like, all right, I want to make a lot of money. I don't want to have a commute because I don't want to lose 10 to 15 hours a day in traffic. What a waste of my time and money. I was like, I don't want to do that. And I don't want to pay for childcare because childcare now is costing between $2,000 to $3,000 a month in childcare. And I was like, okay, how do I not spend that? And how do I take on the jobs that I want, the work that I want? And how do I get to work with business owners or marketing directors that I want to work with? Because that is when I'm most fulfilled, making those people happy. And I felt being a part of a silo, I felt very like kind of like just a part of this cog in the wheel. And I was like, man, I don't feel like I get to have that touch point like that. Like I'm like penguin in the pebble where, you know, you give your pebble off and they're like, I hope you like my pebble. And they're like, yay, I love your pebble. It's great. And so I was just kind of missing that fulfillment. So that's how I base my, like literally how I base my business plan. How do I go direct? How do I do all that? So the first year, 2016 was kind of like a transition. Like the next few years were transitions because I needed to make an income because I like to make money and I love what I do. But I knew I didn't have that client base set up. So the first year was kind of like 80% either placement or W-2 work. And then 20% was going direct with like my own clients, you know, 1099 bit. And then the next year was 50-50. Like I was building up that clientele. And then by 2017, I was 80-20 the other way. 80% going direct with clients and 20% placement or W-2 work. So I kind of like slowly did it over a few years because I needed that security of that. And I think also I just needed to do that until like my until I was working so much in my business that I was working a lot of hours, nights and weekends, that I could like flip one off and then go full time. But really what kind of did it actually was when my husband and I decided to move from Linwood to Marysville, because we decided we didn't like that area anymore. And we knew that we wanted to build a family and we needed a little bit bigger house. So we bought a bigger, you need a little bit more bang for your buck when you move a little bit more north out of the cities. So we wanted to do that too. So we bought a bigger home here. And then because we were outside that hour-and-a-half commute zone, it really ripped off the Band-Aid of like, well, I could take a contract downtown Seattle, or I could take a contract in Bellevue or Redmond, but the commute would be now almost 2 hours to get there. And I was like, well, I guess we're all in on the business, and, you know, ripping off that, there's that, here we go, we're all in. So I think upon moving out here to Marysville was really the kind of the final stand of me going, that's not an option anymore, Amber. Now you are going to hustle and you're going to make this work. So luckily, you know, I'd already had that 80-20 going on, and that was 100% in by 18. And I think what it comes down to is building that network and never burning a bridge, and keeping up on LinkedIn, staying top of mind, you know, all the different marketing strategies that they tell you. I send out quarterly newsletters, you know, to kind of keep my, hey, how's it going? Light touch every quarter. You know, I stay up on LinkedIn. I circle back with colleagues all the time. As people know, or as you know, the Seattle market is sort of musical chair-like. So like once you kind of get in with like a designer or a marketing person, they all kind of do musical chairs every few years. So if you make an impact on them, they're probably going to take you along to the next project or next company. So that's really been a successful thing for me. Like I've had clients that have moved from company to company throughout the years, and they take me with them. So it's kind of a nice bit. They're like, oh, if I'm going to be at a new company, I got to work with Amber. So it's kind of great. That's how some of my work comes in, and then also referrals. A lot of marketing directors and owners talk to each other. And so being in with them, and then, you know, they all talk amongst each other. If you make a great impact and give them a good product, they're probably going to tell their friends, and they're probably going to tell their buddies, because they're all golfing somewhere and they're talking about a rebrand, or they're talking about, you know, making their package better. And it's like, oh, you need to hire awesome Amber. So that's been a really great thing for me. Also networking events. I'm a part of the Economic Alliance of Snohomish County. And it's kind of like a bunch of chambers groups put together. And we do a lot of networking events. So I attend those, and I think because I'm probably super outgoing and bubbly, I'm able to kind of like bounce around the party and have a good time. And I think a lot of people want to work with someone like that. So I think that's one of the things that kind of keeps me and will keep me going, is like my high energy and my smile and being really charismatic and genuine. I'm not very good at playing a two-faced person. That's probably why I never really did good at office politics. In the office game, I'm like, what you see is what you get. And I'm not good at this two-faced game. So this is it. I kind of will tell you how I think about it. And it might not always be so great. So that's also why I'm probably going to be a solopreneur. So I stay on top of the networking game. I stay on top of LinkedIn. I send out quarterly newsletters. And another thing that I do is after a big project, we're so digital now, right? Everything's so digital. After a big project, I send out a brand package box, like a client appreciation box. And it's like a shipper box that's like, I don't know, 10 by 12 by 4. And it's a nice shipper box branded. And then you open it up and you get a custom Arctic tumbler engraved with my logo, but it's black, so that way it's nice and like kind of like not in your face ugly. So it's an Arctic tumbler with my logo on it. You get a bag of coffee, some chocolate covered espresso beans, and some like branded pencils, and maybe something else. But yeah, kind of. And then if I know the client really well, sometimes they get something more special or more unique. But because everything I do is so digital and it's like so like you can't touch it, so it's like I hear enough all these JPEGs or these files, and it's like, all right, thanks, love you, bye. And so by following up with like a brand box, it kind of like has that like next level elevation of your brand that I do for them. And it's like, oh wow, that's really cool. Not only did she do me a great job, she went that extra level with branding and packaging and like, sending a handwritten note. And that's something that I do after every big project, is send out a brand box appreciation, handwritten note. And that always goes really, really well and really, really far. And then it almost guarantees a review on like Google, Yelp, LinkedIn. Reviews are what we all need as a business owner. So that's that next level where it's like, then they're like really feeling good and they really want to leave you a really great review, because everybody reads reviews before hiring somebody. So I'm really dependent on those. So that's kind of like how I do my business now and how I get leads and how I run it right now. So that's kind of like a little overview of how I got into it, why, and what I'm doing now. One of the first questions I'm going to answer will be, what's your favorite client that you've worked with? That's kind of a hard one because I have a lot of favorite clients. Because the cool thing about what I do is that I've been able to touch so many different types of industries. So like I've done industries from wealth management to drones, aerial and underwater. I've got a couple of dentists. I have like a nanny company. I've got real estate, project management. I've even done cannabis. So I've just been able to do so many different types of industries, which is kind of fun because it's like, for me, I get to learn about that industry, but then I get to learn about that company, their business goals and objectives, and then how to market it, like what their sales funnel is and how to make it better. Or like learn about their target demographics and those personas, and then how to market to them better, and then build a design strategy around that. So it's been fun because I get to learn about so many different industries and so many different types of companies. But I think one of my favorites would be last year, I got to work with FSA Vision. FSA is Full Speed Ahead, and then Vision, they're sister companies. They are a international bike parts company. So if you went to like Greg's Cycles or any kind of cycle shop, you would probably find their parts either on the bikes that are being sold at the bike shop, or the parts that you could, change out from your bike. So it was really cool to work with them. They came to me wanting a new website. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. And I can definitely do that. But just because you build a website doesn't mean that people are going to start coming to it. So I'm going to one you up. So I'm going to write you the proposal for the website, but then I'm also going to write you the proposal for all the content needed for the website. So copywriting, imagery, videos for said website that you need. And then also marketing strategy around launch. So we did the website, Shopify website, I designed it, and I worked with a development team to dev it in Shopify. And then I worked with a copywriter and marketing strategist and a videographer to help build the content for the website and deliver that. And then we also did a marketing strategy for the launch. And that marketing strategy included everything from nurture streams for both B2B and B2C. So nurture streams over the next like 3 months time after launch, leading up to and after launch. So emails, and then display ads, programmatic targeted display ads. Those are the things that pop up that we all kind of hate a little bit. They follow us around the internet. But anyways, they work. So anyways, display ads that then take them back to the website, that then hopefully convert them into a sale, and social media. And I think maybe one more thing, I can't remember now. So it's kind of fun because like the goal of everything is like, yes, you have the website, but then you've got display ads, nurture emails, and everything else kind of like in social media that bring you back to the website. And then they could get a 20% off coupon or something on their first order. And hopefully that converts to a sale. So you kind of need that sales engine. It's like, you can't just like build it and they will come. You have to like tell someone about it. So I think I like that project probably the best because it was more than just design, and I got to be just more than just me. So I got the project in and I got to like work with my preferred partners, is what I call them, like from different companies. So we all work together as a co-op in order to like meet this client's needs and goals. I think that was probably the favorite thing, because I got to like almost like orchestrate or conduct, like this whole project that took 6 months for it to launch. So, and I had to create this work back schedule from this D-Day launch date and kind of work it back and then get all those partners. I also worked with a advertising agency that helped with the programmatic retargeting ads. So it's like, yeah, I got to work with all these different cool vendors and their team and their Italy team. And it was just like this fun project management, but yet it was all, and I got to design everything. So it was just kind of really fun. That's probably one of my favorite projects I got to work on recently. Next question is, how do I approach risk taking? Well, like any good designer or any good business owner, it's kind of like risk reward, right? The ROI. Is the risk worth the ROI or the potential outcome? And those are, you have to weigh those out. What they say is what you can't have reward without risk. So you kind of just like, you have to kind of like weigh that out, right? But I guess for me as a business owner, I guess I have a little bit of a cushion because my husband does work full time. And if I didn't get anything going on in my business, we could live off of his income. So I guess that takes off a lot of pressure off of me. But I also make more than he does. So it's okay. So, but anyways, I guess it takes off a lot of my pressure. But it's kind of like that risk reward. I do it everything from, buying different software, different tools, different automated systems, and is it worth the ROI? Same thing with taking on more projects. Like maybe I've written a lot of proposals and now I'm getting a lot of yeses. Like, oh, now I've got to book all this work. Well, sometimes I have to ramp up. And can I handle it myself, or do I need to hire a contractor? Do I need a mid-level or a senior level? So it's kind of like, and then can I keep them busy enough? And is it worth my time? And so you're kind of playing that risk reward type, all the time in business, whether it be financially or through contracting and hiring people. I have been sort of on that tipping point layer of probably having to hire someone soon because I'm taking on more work than I can do by myself. And me being the face of my company, I need to be out prospecting and conjuring up the work. But while I'm doing that, that means the work isn't getting done. And so I almost have to start probably hiring someone to get the work done while I'm prospecting and bringing it in. And then also doing these types of meetings with my clients that are kind of like the rounds or review type clients, because they want to see me in those types of business meetings rather than like my junior or someone like a colleague that I'm working with. So that's probably normal for that risk-taking bit, weighing out the cost and weighing out the reward, and is it worth it, and how bad do I want to get there? So I guess that's true for anybody. And then the next one, how did earlier career choices lead you to where you are now? Well, I think I just decided that at a young age that I'm not going to be very good in a chair working for somebody else, making them millions of dollars. But I feel like I also needed to do that in order to understand the process and how to do what I do in my expertise, in my toolbox. Like I needed to work for those people to learn enough to be dangerous in order to go out on my own. So I feel like it was necessary, but I made strategic choices to okay, I need to while I'm still working for somebody else, how do I write a contract? How do I write a proposal? How do I, run a business? So I took time while working for other people to learn how to do other parts of the business besides graphic design. How do you write an invoice? How do you do accounts payable? How do you do taxes? So I kind of took advantage of while I was working for other people to kind of learn how to be a business owner. So I guess I made really important choices young, and took examples of things when I was working for other people, so that way I could take it and then go out on my own. And I think that was really smart, a smart choice for me when I was working for other people. How do you encourage innovative ideas? Well, I think you should go out and travel. I think learning about as many cultures, foods, styles, religions, voices, I think you got to learn as much as you can about everything, about every topic, both sides of every topic. Travel the world and see some cool stuff. I think that is how you get innovated, by learning about different cultures and styles and ways of thinking and comparing it to yourself, and I don't know, just being able to see both sides of the equation and come up with your own opinion and own idea, be a free thinker in this world. Between traveling and getting out into nature and being able to be a free thinker in that sense. Don't always believe what you read on social media or on the news. You know, go get a book, go read about it, go research, go look at history. I think then you can start formulating your own ideas and opinions. And I think that's important. And I think that's how I keep staying innovative. And then also, yes, that, but then innovative, but then also staying up on top of trends, right? Technology, I have to keep up with all you young people. So as a designer, I have to keep up with what the latest trends are, of course, and then keep getting inspired. So whether that be through different blogs or forums or different books. When I get a project, I like to thumb through a lot of books. I like to go out into nature. I like to look at architecture sometimes, a designer. Different periods of history have really great, beautiful art, whether it be from paintings to architecture. Sometimes that will influence me. It just kind of depends on the era specific, because throughout the ages, humans have done so many amazing things. So I think that's kind of how I stay on top of it, because it's all cyclical. It kind of comes back around, but in a new modern twist. So I think, sometimes taking a peek in the history to kind of formulate something new and with a new twist. That's probably how I stay innovative, between that and traveling a lot and keeping an open mind and understanding all parts of the equation before creating a hypothesis or coming to a conclusion or solution. And then let's see here. What one word describes junior vision? So I had a hard time thinking about this. I was like, so I had to think about it, and I had to talk to my husband about it. So like, what do you think? I don't know. But I think what we came to is probably what one word describes my vision is energy. I know a lot of people are going to come up with something else, but I think that describes me and my vision is the energy. With energy, with my way of being, like that's one way. If I can keep up with it, that's what I want for my business, is that energy and that passion and that drive, that hustle, right? That energy to keep going. And one thing I have to keep telling myself is that every once in a while you kind of get a bad apple or a bad client, and you can't let that one client or that one bad apple take you down. Because like I've got a history of really great clients and really great reviews that people love my work and love the way I do things and love how I handle business. And I can't let one person bring me down. And so I just have to keep that like, no, you're good. Like keep that energy, keep that positivity, keep that drive and that hustle up. And you can't let just those couple of bad apples bring you down. So I think that's probably one word that describes me. And it probably stays with me because, life does a lot of roller coasters and a lot of ups and downs. And I think you just have to keep, fighting a good fight and marching a good march. Bad things happen in life, and it's all how you handle them. It's all what you do with them. Maybe a little TMI, but I've lost 2 sisters in my life, and I can be raised by my dad, right, on a farm in Port Orchard, right? And I've got, I chose not to play those victim cards. Woe is me, my mom left me. Woe is me, I lost 2 sisters, right? Like, but no, you take it positive. I get to live. I get to do these things. Those things have made me stronger and more empathetic and more powerful, right? So I took those things. I was like, no, I'm going to live life to the fullest. I'm going to go live life because my sisters didn't get to. I'm going to go do the things and say yes and try it. And if I make it, and then keep going, right? That's just the way life is. You're not always guaranteed tomorrow. So I'm going to go live it today. And I'm going to do the best that I can today by good relationships, good people, and building positive, genuine relationships. And that's how I do life, and that's how I do my business.
Thank you so much, Amber. I loved hearing your story and everything. I learned so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I try to be an inspiration to young people. I really enjoy doing these for schools. I also speak at the Western Washington University Innovative and Entrepreneurial class there too. I feel like I've been through a lot in my life, whether it be personally or through business. And I just have a passion for living and mentoring others and inspiring others to want to like reach for the stars and keep going, despite the crummy things that can happen to us in life.
For sure, I definitely.
Do you have any more questions for me or things you want me to elaborate on?
No, I think that I learned so much, and it was great to hear your story today.
Okay. Well, you can get a hold of me, you can go to my website, awesomeamber.com. So a little bit of self-affirmation, a little bit of an ego, I guess. So awesomeamber.com. You can reach me via email, amber@awesomeamber.com. If you have any questions and comments or thoughts, I'm always here for young minds. I love giving back to the community and little tidbits and nuggets I can share along the way. I'm always happy to do so. So don't be shy and say hello.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.